I cracked the code. I think I figured out how to fix the Wuthering Waves community. And the answer is extremely simple, but it requires a lot of willpower. So the last video that I made, it was something, well, not the last video, but the why the Wuthering Waves community is dry video. I shared a lot of the opinions that I've had for a long time that I never talked about. I waited quite a bit actually to try to, like, you know, gather some information, theorize some things as to why things might potentially be, you know, not so great in the space, the potential causes for that. And there are quite a few causes. I particularly talked about, I want to say like 3 causes in particular. In the video, I talked about certain types of negative content that I don't think are helpful for the space. I talked about the lack of organic collaborations and whatchamacallit, the differences between what is considered drama versus what is not drama. Or specifically, I didn't even use the word drama, actually. That was something that was brought into the conversation afterward. Just what is considered like negative versus just constructive feedback. And I do think there is a difference with that, right? But so those are like the 3 things that I brought up. Now, the problem is I messed up on 2 things. One thing in particular was more egregious than the other though. The first thing that I messed up on was toward the end of the conversation, I made a statement that I did not mean to say. It was a misspeak on my part, right? And I apologize for that. I want to like just full on apologize because I said something that ruined, in my opinion, the purpose of the video. And the purpose of the video was to call out specific types of content, not specific content creators. And I didn't call any content creator out because that was not the point. And I don't think that's ever a helpful thing, to be honest with you. I don't think we gain as a community anything from calling out specific people, because at the end of the day, especially when it comes to content creation, a lot of the times it's not so much about the creator, it's more so about the community. Because like if I were to make a video that said, I absolutely hate with all the fiber of my beings the way that Carthia's voice actor sounds. Like if I said that, right? Which is clearly not true. But if I said that and it got 1 view, right? It wouldn't matter in the grand scheme of things, right? And at the end of the day, just because if the issue is the types of content, because just because one person stops making said content, somebody else will make it, right? So it's not really about the creators specifically, but that's not the purpose of my thing, because I never wanted to make this like a thing of like a galvanization of attacking of particular individuals. That's never been my goal. In fact, it will be counterintuitive to what my goals are, which are to build bridges and bring people together, not to separate, right? And so because I said at the end of that video something along the lines of like, Gotcha's dead, but who killed it? When I said who, that question puts in people's minds, oh yeah, who did do that? And then you start thinking of people. And that was my fault. I should have said what killed it. That is what I should have said, and I want to apologize to the people who felt as though I was targeting them, because that was never the case. Now, people can have whatever the opinions they want of whoever they want, mind you, but for me personally, I'm speaking for myself, and that was never my intention. There are people who might do certain types of content that people will label as negative, or in this case, and we're just gonna put the, bring it out here, drama, right? That's the second part of it. And I feel like I should have been more specific on this as well. I said 2 things. The first thing that I messed up on was that. The second thing is this. I said toward the end of the video that not all of this is on creators, but I should have put that at the very beginning. Why? Because most people don't even watch to the end of the video. And so a lot of people probably watched like 3 minutes or something and then just went straight to the comments. So that is also what I should have done to make things a little bit clearer for everybody at the beginning. Now, with that being said, I want to make a statement about what is drama versus what is not drama. And I think that there is a big, I think there's an issue with that in the community, honestly. I think that certain things are labeled drama that are not. Now, I do think, this is just my personal opinion, I think there are certain creators who have in the past made what we would consider drama. Like, genuinely, what do I consider drama? I consider drama like creator PvP, right? Where you're like calling out another creator, which is quite literally what I was trying not to do. And I never called out a specific person, but you get my point. Calling out like arguments between individuals, I feel like that should just be handled in private, personally. Specifically, like if it has nothing to do with the game, just like, oh, you're stupid, or I don't like you, or whatever. But once again, even with that being the case, it doesn't really matter because it's not my business. At the end of the day, that's between that person and whoever, right? But I still just don't think it's healthy for the space regardless. But once again, it is what it is. So that would be considered what I would consider drama. And maybe you might have a different definition of drama for yourself, but this is just for me. The second thing I would consider drama would be when, okay, there's an issue, we talk about the issue, but then we like over talk about the issue, where it's just like constantly hammering at the same thing. Essentially kind of creating a mountain out of a molehill. In essence, some people might say, well, that's subjective to the individual. And once again, at the end of the day, people are free to make whatever kind of content they want. I have to say that they are free to make whatever content they want. The entire purpose of my thing was just saying, I don't think certain types of content are healthy for the space nor the individual, but it was never about me calling out particular people. That's the important part. The people are free to do whatever they want. Yeah. Now, the next thing is we have to understand that if somebody is saying their opinion about something, opinions do not equal drama. In reality, an opinion is just an opinion. The thing that turns it into drama is actually less the creator and more so how the community reacts to it, which leads me to my most important thing of this entire discussion, okay? The most important thing of this entire discussion. Simply ignore people you don't care about. All right? Like, quite literally, if people ignored stuff they didn't care about, because the reality is negativity is not going to go anywhere, and I know that. Like, I know that negativity is just going to disappear off the face of the earth. Like, I'm not naive, but that still doesn't mean we don't say, hey, this is not a good thing. But the big thing that I would say is this. We as a community have to take responsibility that we don't blow things out of proportion either. Like, yeah, you can talk about creators, but also as a community, if it's something that you don't really vibe with, just ignore it. Let that person and whoever just said the thing that you don't really vibe with, let them rock with whoever they want to rock with, and you rock with who you want to rock with, and just let people be. Because quite literally, if we did more of just focusing on the things that we enjoy versus focusing on the things that we dislike, we'd actually be in such a better place. Because realistically speaking, like, I can tell you for personal perspective, I don't even see most things that are negative happening in the space. Believe it or not. I know I talked about it, but it's mostly what I hear from other people. Like, oh yeah, this happened. And then I'll go look it up and I'll be like, oh wow, this is happening or whatever. And I will also hear from other people who have made decisions based on the things that they've experienced in the space. But quite literally, if we would just focus on the things that we care about, more so than the things that we don't like, everybody would be happy. Like, genuine, people would be so much happier. Like, if you don't care, if like, oh, somebody said like a take that you're not really feeling, don't even worry about it. Like quite literally, don't even. And that's why I said it takes willpower to do, because it's not always like the easiest thing, but when it is accomplished, literally, and let me tell you one of the reasons why this is so good, okay? One of the reasons why this is so good is because when somebody new comes into the space, right? When someone brand new comes into space, kind of like how I was, right? What you're gonna see is you're gonna see the thing that's supposedly negative, right? And then you're gonna see a bunch of people talking about the thing that's supposedly negative. But what if instead what they saw was the negative thing that you're talking about, right? Nobody's making a big fuss about it, and that stays in its own echo chamber. And then what they see is they might see some people saying, oh yeah, so-and-so 2.8 was mid or whatever, but then they'll also see people saying, oh, I loved 2.8. Because it's like the people who say, oh, 2.8 was mid, 2.8, I loved it. But then there's this third in the middle crowd who is complaining and arguing about the person on the right side, but not saying anything about the people on the left side. You see what I'm saying? Like there's the people who like it and the people who don't like it, but then there's that middle crowd who is focused primarily on the people who don't like it. But what if that middle crowd focused mainly on the people who liked it? Then the people who are brand new would actually see like peace. They see, oh yeah, I saw some people said they didn't like it, then there are some other people who said they like it, and I don't know what to think. That's what they'll say. They'll be like, I see people who like it, I see people who don't like it, and then what they'll do is they'll just ask a question. Oh, well, apparently people like it, some people don't. Why did you not like it? Because if that's all they see, as opposed to constantly seeing people complaining about it, then, because when you see the complaints, what you end up getting after that complaint is just arguments in the comments. Like, oh, you're dumb, you're dumb, you're dumb, you're dumb, you're dumb. That's what usually happens when there's that middle crowd of people complaining about the people complaining. But if that middle crowd shrunk and it was mainly just people just doing their own thing, then the other person, the new person, or the uninitiated person, doesn't even have to be somebody new, just the uninitiated person to the conversation will just ask a question. They'll observe, I see two different things, and then they'll ask the question, well, I see these two different things. I'm curious why these people think this now, as opposed to just seeing people arguing about what somebody else thinks. So that would be my thing. I want to just say this again. I quite literally never, and to be honest with you, I'm friends, or I don't know about friends is the right word, but I'd like to be, I guess. I'd like to be friends with as many people as possible, as many people who will have me. And I don't have an issue with a lot of people, even people who might do the occasional not so great content. Because at the end of the day, for me, as I said, I'm trying to build bridges. I'm trying to make change. And I also don't think that just because somebody might have done a content at one point means that they can't change either, or that needs to like paint their entire person, right? Like, because once again, if I'm being honest with you all, at least within the Wuthering Wave space, we haven't had like any serious dramas in this space in a long time. But what I've noticed is that we still have we're still feeling the effects of the stuff that happened in the past. That's at least what I believe. Like, genuinely, I don't actually think that we've really seen anything that serious happen in a while. And I do think that there might be a broad brush being painted on people who might have done things in the past, but aren't currently doing those things. And so as a result, because of the things that happened in the past, I think we're still just feeling the effects of those things. And I think the best way to heal from those things is just to let them be, to move on, right? It's interesting. Chisa talked about that actually in 2.8. But just let those things be, move on, and be known for what you're for, more so than being known for what you're against. Because I feel like the Wuthering Waves community right now is known primarily for what they're against more than what they are for, or specifically the Western community or Ian or whatever, right? So yeah, please, at the end of the day, you're gonna do whatever you want to do. I can't control anybody, but I would appreciate it if we don't attack particular people, and we don't even like make that a rhetoric online, because it doesn't really help anything. Like, it generally doesn't. Like, constantly talking about, oh yeah, I don't like this and I don't like this and I don't like that. Talk more about what you like, and if you don't like it, just ignore it. That would be my suggestion anyway. So yeah, with all that being said, that's that conversation. Hopefully you all have a blessed day. If you celebrate Thanksgiving, that's coming up soon. Hopefully you enjoy yourself. And I'll say this one last time. Not everything that people call drama is drama. And even if regardless of whether it's drama or not, if you don't like it, just don't engage with it. Just focus. It's better for your own mental health. Just focus on things you enjoy. Right? Be open to being critical about things, sure, but be mindful about how you speak, because words have power, and they don't just affect other people, they affect you too. So yeah, all of that being said, God bless. Stay hydrated. Peace.